Hello and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here tonight for two reasons. First, we are going to honor Police Officer Adam Romatowski as Officer of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2009, and then we're going to let the Woodbridge Elks Lodge 2116 make a presentation to the township. So let me first introduce the people behind me. To my right, Police Director Bob Hubner. To his right, Deputy Director Joe Niski. To his right, Chief Law Enforcement Officer Scott Kuzma. To his right, Council President, 3rd Ward Councilman Avenel and Port Reading, Corey Spiller. To his right, Councilwoman at Large Lisbeth De Jesus. To her right, Debbie Meehan, 5th Ward Councilwoman. To her right, Nancy Drum, 1st Ward Councilwoman, Woodbridge and Sue Warren, Debbie's Colonia. And all the way to the right is Councilman at Large Brian Small, a former police officer in this great township. So I'd now like to bring up, he's already here, Police Officer Adam Romatowski. Let me just read the important parts of his, the reason why he was awarded Police Officer of the Quarter. During the first quarter of 2019, Police Officer Adam Romatowski responded to 507 calls for service, conducted 96 motor vehicle stops, which resulted in enforcement actions to include the issuance of traffic summonses, DUI summonses, enforcement of outstanding arrest warrants, and the arrest of defendants on violations of New Jersey criminal statutes. And whereas Officer Romatowski responded to a call involving a male suspect who had allegedly stabbed the victim during a dispute in the Forge section of the township, Officer Romatowski was the first patrol officer to arrive on the chaotic scene, initiated control, and secured information about the suspect involved in the incident. Officer Romatowski began the search for the suspect, located the unoccupied suspect vehicle, and subsequently located the suspect hiding behind a building. As a result of the quick response and investigation, the suspect was arrested and charged with numerous crimes related to the stabbing of the Forge resident. And whereas Officer Romatowski is recognized and honored before the Woodbridge Township Police Department, peers, community, and family for his dedication to duty and police professionalism, and is hereby named Police Officer of the first quarter for 2019. Officer Romatowski, congratulations very much. The answer is usually no, but do you want to say anything?
Thank you very much.
All right. How about little guy? Come on up. Come on over here. Come on up. It's okay. Yeah, come on up. I want to talk to you. You can't say no to the mayor, man. Come here. Come here. Tell me what's your name. Lucas, okay. Turn around and face the man with the microphone, the camera there. But you want to hold it? Okay, here. Tell me, do you realize your dad is a hero police officer?
Yeah.
He did great stuff for the township, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel to have a dad who got awarded as the police officer of the quarter?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, let me tell you what it means. I mean, he was the best police officer, the best one. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
To have your dad be the best one?
Yeah.
All right, good job. Wait, let's get you guys.
Upside down.
Uh-oh. Your wife want to come up? Your partner want to come up?
That's okay.
Come on. All right. I won't ask you questions.
It's okay.
All right. Well, congratulations to Officer Romatowski. Congratulations. Bob, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I follow that, but first I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for supporting the police department and recognizing the hard work our men and women do. Adam, congratulations, great job, and that's just a small amount of the things that you've done, and you're a fairly new officer. How many years now? 2?
Going on 2.
2.
Going on
so
2, wow.
Great job, keep it up.
Wow, congratulations. All right.
I need some more
Oh,
photos first.
all right. Get some more pictures. Okay, you with the police brass?
Please, yep.
First with the police.
Council and mayor, please.
Family?
Now you have to come. Everybody.
In the front? There you go.
That's perfect.
All right. Next up, I'd like to call up the exalted ruler of Woodbridge Elks Post 2116, Hank Hart.
We are certainly honored to be here today to be able to present a check that our chairperson for our Drug Awareness Committee, he'll tell you a little bit about how he raised the money. But the Elks, particularly this year, it is a mission of ours to try to do as much in the fight against drugs. We've had over the last several years the loss of 2 children at our lodge. And I take this very personally because I lost my wife 3 months ago to a drug overdose. So our mission is to do whatever we can to help this township. So I'd like to bring up Ron Pruitt right now, who spearheads that committee.
Thank you, Hank. Hank is the second exalted ruler. I have been fortunate enough to serve as the chairman of the Drug Awareness Committee for about 13 months ago. Rob Snowfield, who's a retired police officer, many in this chamber know him, asked me to chair this brand new committee. It hasn't been active at Woodbridge Lodge 2116 for many years, and he said that's no reason to not join everyone else in our district and state who really does a lot raising money for drug awareness, for substance abuse, as Hank had just said, and it's a very near and dear cause to many of us. So I'm very pleased right here, the 2 assistants, Vanna White and Hank here. Also, we know Hank, our exalted ruler. This is my good friend Ron Chatapatier, or in layman's terms, Ron Chat. We spell his name right once a moon. It's a good occasion. He is my partner in crime in the Drug Awareness Committee, as well as a professional musician, and we were able to combine those 2 passions of ours very effectively and to raise this money. The 2 of us run a Frank Sinatra band, and this past year at the Elks, we were asked how do we want to start raising money for drug awareness, and we said a terrific groundbreaking event would be to throw Sinatra at the Elks, and it was really one of the biggest events of the year. We were able to raise quite a lot of money, and we've donated to our own committee, to some things at the Elks Lodge, and we're very privileged to have a check for $500 going toward the Woodbridge Alliance at the recommendation of PER Rob Snowfield to combat substance abuse, drug awareness, and a personal favorite cause. I don't want to say favorite, but one that I'm most passionate about, being the opioid epidemic nowadays. So it's really amazing to see all of our results come together in the form of a check, in the form of an event we run, and in the form of appreciation of people who are benefiting from this. So, I don't know. You want to say anything, Ron?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, actually. He's ready.
I understand Mr. Pruitt, Ron's very humble, but it was actually due to that Sinatra event that Ron found himself in his mere 2nd year, I believe, as an elk, on the board for the Elk of the Month.
Oh.
So it just goes to show you, with Ron's leadership and my assistance, what can happen.
Yep. And we're very humbled that this committee really haven't been more than a thought in someone's head a year ago is now really taking root in our lodge and in our district. I've been traveling around to Piscataway, South Amboy, Edison, Metuchen, other lodges in our district, connecting with their leaders for this program, district and state chair people, and we only hope that this is just the starting block. We really want to do more and more and more and more. As Hank said, it's near and dear to many of us in a lot of ways. We've all known somebody who was affected by this, if not personally, through the grapevine, through our community. So that's about all I have to say. Mayor, thank you very much for having us here today. We appreciate it.
I will say that I heard from Snowfield that Hank started interfering in the whole event and telling you what to do, and you said, Hank, I'm going to do it my way.
Hey, that's right.
But let me, I know, I'm sorry. Let me call up Dr. Bonnie Nolan, who is the young lady who handles our Division of Addiction Services in the Health Department. She came to us a couple of years ago. We started with a program where people in Woodbridge who were given Narcan had to be transported to the hospital by emergency services, first aid squads, and Bonnie started a program where a recovery coach, somebody in recovery themselves, would be on call every hour of every day, and when that person was transported, the call would go to the person on duty, and that person would meet the victim in the hospital, and that way the victim is talking to somebody who can talk their language, who walk the walk, and share their experiences. Nothing against other people in the hospital talking to somebody, but it's much different when it's somebody who you can relate to. And this program has been so remarkably successful now that 7 other towns actually copied what we do. And Bonnie's team is literally on call for towns from Woodbridge up to Woodbridge and out to Metuchen and North Brunswick and New Brunswick. So it's a fantastic program. So Bonnie, I'd like you to accept this check on behalf of the township, and maybe you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you so much. This is really this is a fantastic gift. I really appreciate it. Hank, please accept my condolences. The money is fantastic, and it will go to a lot of good use, everything from sober living to prevention programs. But what is even more valuable to me is the public support that the Elks show us. So when respectable organizations like the Elks show their support via funds or supporting our events, that helps to break the stigma that's killing people. So this is something that affects everyone, and when everyone acknowledges it and everybody talks about it, that does more for us than even a check can do. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Call the council meeting to order. Please stand for a pledge to the flag. Remain standing. Moment of silence for our military personnel serving. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger published the notice on December 21st, 2018. A copy of the schedule was posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board, Town Hall. It should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Anderson.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilwoman Drum.
Here.
Councilman Small.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Councilman Bauer.
Here.
Vice President De Jesus.
Here.
And President Speller.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from May 7, 2019?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances, we'll take ordinance letter A first, an ordinance adopting the 5 Paddock Street redevelopment plan. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third readings and the public hearing be open.
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter A only.
Paddock Street is located in Avenel. Paddock Street is located in Avenel.
To make it more specific, where is it?
It's located off Broadway Avenue in Avenel.
Down by the bridge?
A little bit before that.
Any other questions from letter A?
Good evening, Tom Mowers, New Jersey. Exactly what is the redevelopment plan? What's going to be going in there? Is it commercial? Is it residential? Is it mixed use?
Right now, all we're doing is we're adoption of the redevelopment plan. Right now, the plan is to renovate the existing warehouse that's there.
Thank you.
Any other questions under letter A? If there are no other questions, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter B, an amendment to Chapter 21, Hotels and Rooming Houses of the Woodridge Revised General Ordinances. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only.
Charles, Woodbridge here. On ordinance 5 header, the amendment
21 hotels, rooming houses of the Woodridge revised general ordinances. I'm aware we have a lot of hotels, but about housing, I'm talking about the rooming housing. Do we have any rooming houses in place?
The rooming houses are just in the title of the ordinance.
Well, in the title, but I mean, can you prepare a rooming house?
We have an existing ordinance. That's what we're amending. We have an existing ordinance that has captioned that, and we're just amending an existing ordinance. This ordinance deals only, though, with the hotels and motels and allows them to work towards doing certain changes that will, and it's known as the crime prevention through environmental design. This is a way of exploring innovative ways to help combat criminal activity. The police department was worked with the administration in an effort to try to come up with something that's going to work to help us fight crime in these areas.
But do we have any residential areas for beer rooming houses? I mean, the people I know that we have tenants.
No, we don't.
Hotels and motels.
I didn't hear your objection.
What did it say?
This has nothing to do with rooming houses. That's just in the title of the ordinance.
Thank you.
Any other comments under letter B? Hearing no other comments, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter C is an amendment to Chapter 7, Traffic of the Woodbridge Revised Ordinances, and this is with regards to traffic directors at construction sites. I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open.
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public hearing is now open on letter C only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Under ordinances for first reading, letters D and E, by consent, if I can get a motion that both ordinances be passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on May 24, 2019, with notice of public hearing to be held on June 11, 2019 at 7 p.m.
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolutions listed before you tonight are 1 through 30. Can I get a motion by consent to pass 1 through 30?
Motion.
Second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Before we move to the public portion of the meeting, I'd like to turn to the mayor. I understand he has a statement to read regarding clarification of some statements and misinformation that was made at the May 7th council meeting. Mayor, please.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to set the record straight on two issues that came up at the last council meeting, as you said. First, the residents said that our tax collector made $160,000 in salary from the Township of Woodbridge and another $160,000 from the Township of Edison, and that he had 2 full-time jobs. I said that he was wrong on both accounts, and he repeated his claim a total of 4 times, as if repetition of a falsehood multiple times could somehow make it true. The fact is that he makes $43,000 as the part-time tax collector in Edison, because, as I said, they need someone with a license while their staff trains to become certified tax collectors. He is not full-time, and he does not make $160,000. Government salaries are readily available online, and a quick check would have produced the correct number. Second, another resident said that 80 single-family homes on the site of the Hess development would produce more property taxes than the luxury apartment complex that is contemplated being built there. First, the site cannot hold 80 homes, and the number is probably closer to 50, but that is an area without another single-family home anywhere nearby, and it is hardly conducive to such living. Even 60 single-family homes would produce less than $25 million over 30 years, while the apartment complex would generate nearly $60 million in the same 30-year period. I would also venture to say that 60 single-family homes would be very likely to produce 120 or more school children, because all the homes would be 3 or 4 bedrooms, which would likely be purchased by people with families. Apartments, on the other hand, typically do not produce the same amount of children per unit. One-bedroom apartments clearly will not produce school children, and two-bedroom apartments could likely only produce one child of school age. Certainly, the three-bedroom apartments are more likely to produce children, but our experience so far has been otherwise. At 270 occupied units, the Station Village project in Avenel had produced 20 school children back in December, and now that they're up to 329 units, they still have only 27 school children. When fully built, that would mean they have 41, hardly a burden on a school system with nearly 14,000 children. That's a little over 3 kids per grade and less than 1 kid per classroom. The site used to produce less than $100,000 annually in taxes on highly contaminated land, but now will produce $2.5 million annually when fully built for the next 30 years, or 25 times more on completely cleaned up land. The development on Route 27 and Green Street has produced 6 school children out of 48 occupied units. It used to produce $20,000 annually in property taxes, but now will produce nearly $200,000, or 10 times that. This development is more similar to the Hess development because mass transit is not right on site, but a short walk or ride to the train station. Projected out at the Hess level of housing would indicate that this project would produce less than 50 students. Once again, people in the audience treat children like they're toxic waste that our community should not want. We welcome kids who move into town with their families, and we will educate them, and we will provide great recreational and other services to them, and we hope that they grow up here and raise a family here. We cannot be afraid of minimal incremental cost to educate a few hundred more students when we see how much additional revenue the township as a whole generates from these projects, which of course then produces tremendous benefits for these very same school children through investments in technology, school security, and physical infrastructure. And the last point I would like to make is that since our very first payment in lieu of tax agreement in 1999, not once, not even once, has a member of the Board of Education or a member of the school district administration over 20 years ever complained about our policies or challenged us publicly or privately about them. The only people opposed to our policies are those who are politically opposed to us, but of course they're opposed to everything we do for political reasons. Those who know best know we are doing the best we can on behalf of our 14,000 students and our entire Woodbridge community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the council, I'd like to once again thank you for clarifying misinformation and, as always, putting out sound, proper information. So thank you. We will now move to the public portion of the meeting. Please approach a microphone if you like, state the area of the township you live in, and there is a 5-minute record.
Good evening. Paul Lutton, Oakland section. I understand that all these new developments are generating and have been generating, it seems, from the mayor's statistics, good investment return, good tax revenue, and which is being reinvested. I'm wondering, since my property tax has doubled in the last 10 years, would any of it go to tax relief, perhaps, or slow the 10% per year annual compounding taxes in property tax?
Well, first, I reject the premise of your question. We have not had a 10% compounded annually growth in property taxes. That's not even close. Second,
I will reiterate. I had my property tax double in the last 10 years. So actually, let's assume.
I don't know what your taxes are, but that doesn't mean it went up 10% a year for 10 years.
Okay.
When you compound it. But the money we get from the pilots, when you subtract the amount that goes to pay the school debt off from the projects that we've done, the rest does go to property tax relief, a significant amount.
So in other words, it offsets what would have been a bigger increase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My other question, I missed some of it. I know I could probably go to the planning board and find out more, but how many units are going up in the old Hess property?
Right now, the plan is for 376 maximum, but they're not quite sure yet how much they can build because of wetlands. They don't think they have contamination issues. Most of the contamination seems to be concentrated on the other side of Mutton Hollow Road and Antares Drive, which is not the land that's being developed. Hess did not sell their entire parcel. As far as the rest of it, engineering has to do a lot of studies to see how much can actually be built on, because there is a stream that runs through there, and that, of course, makes issues with how close you can be to the stream. But the 376 number is a maximum.
And then traffic survey has already been done, or that's part of the process to be done?
It's all part of the process.
I know, for example, 95 units near Hope Lawn off New Brunswick Avenue, that they waive the need or necessity for a traffic survey, even though the locals are pretty much anticipating a bit more of a nightmare than we already have there. So I just want to confirm that the traffic survey would be done. If the traffic survey comes back that it would be too much traffic, additional traffic for the local infrastructure, is it possible for this to be withdrawn as a project?
This project is going to solve the worst traffic nightmare in town. Right now, the intersection of Route 9 South and the hairpin turn that takes you past the Kidney Place by the bowling alley is the biggest backup in town. You can't leave Town Hall at 4:15 and get to the community center until 4:45. So regardless of what this individual project causes on its own, and I would submit that would be minimal because you're going to have a lot of commuters, it's overly compensated for by the fact that the developers have agreed to donate whatever land is necessary to move that hairpin turn into a more gradual ramp that will take everybody out to the entrance by Wells Fargo Bank into Lowe's and Wegmans. So are more apartments going to produce more cars? Certainly, but it'll go a long way and much farther way toward eliminating the worst traffic problem in town.
And last question, what would be the time frame for approvals and development to begin and maybe perhaps be completed on that project?
I don't know that. It's all dependent on the developer. They just got the plan approved. Now they have to go secure their financing and their investing. They have no plans on starting construction. They probably couldn't start construction this year, but there's a lot of variables that I can't commit to because of market conditions and financing conditions, and as I said, the issues with the possible wetlands.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Tom Maris, North New Jersey. I'd like to respond to some of Mr. McCormick's statements. And I know I only have 5 minutes with he is a little pleased in his clarifications. If I misspoke about the salaries of an individual, that information was based on over requests that I received both from Woodbridge Township and from Edison, New Jersey, and I wasn't talking about tax, I was talking about that individual also holding a position unless they had the wrong name or I got the name wrong, which would be a highly unlikely coincidence in the name and spelling, was also their sewerage authority and was being paid in around $160,000 for that position. I will double check my figures, and if I am wrong in any of that, I will come back and apologize to this body and to anybody that may hear my voice. So let me clarify that. On the pilot programs, I hear again, the last time we were here, we heard that project that we're talking about now, the 376 units, would be generating probably $30 million to $40 million over 30 years. Tonight, you just indicated it would be $60 million. I believe it was predicated on $818,000 per annum on the taxes for them under the abatement program. And perhaps you'd like to elect us, Mr. McCormick, on pilot programs. How much of that is the school denied in tax revenue? How much is the county denied? How much are our fire companies are denied from what would normally be their share of property taxes when a tax payment like this is generated? And to that, let me just say too, when the gentleman here was here last week and spoke about the gift of the monies to refurbish the fire truck, we all want to see our equipment up and running and make sure our town is safe. But I would say again, as I have in the past, the taxing entities, such as fire districts and school districts, are just that, taxing entities. They build into their budgets refurbishment of equipment, replacement of equipment. I would assume, I would hope as big businessmen, smart people that they are, and I cherish our fire companies dearly. Both landfills are passed, and they were fire chiefs in Romsey, so I hold them in very high regard. That said, I am checking into their financials as well to see if they did in fact have planning in there when they were getting their tax money share from the revenues from homes in that area, and if that was used to go forward with this equipment. Otherwise, it's still a matter, it's not a gift. It's coming out of the taxpayers, whether it comes out of the township's general tax fund or out of the money that they are collecting. With that in their budget, it's taxpayer money. There's no gifts about it. And I would ask you to please work on this sound system. A lot of people do want to hear what's going on here, and I've gotten a lot of complaints or feedback, if you will, that the sound system, we can't touch the mic, don't move the mic. You've chosen not to show anybody, for whatever reasons, you don't want that kind of open government that comes up here to speak to you. You don't provide a podium for anybody to rest anything on. But you could at least try to get the sound system and working for our budget. Thank you.
Council President, can I answer the question, please?
Yes, please.
Well, first, I'm glad you agree that all the taxpayers are the same, whether it's the county, the board, the town, or the fire company. We all represent the same exact constituents, which are the residents of Woodbridge Township. So your first question, how much is the school board or the county or the fire district shortchanged whenever there's a pilot? And the answer is absolutely nothing. The school district every year prepares its budget, and they calculate the amount that they need to raise from property taxes, and they pass the budget, and they send us the bill, and we divide it by 12 and send them the money every month. The county does the same thing, and the fire company does the same thing, and they send us their bill, and we divide that by 4, and we send them the money every quarter. The way pilots work and the way the budget works is even if that project or a warehouse or an office building or a power plant came in and paid regular taxes, it does not give the school district any more money to spend on its students, because all that project does is impact the tax base. It provides more people to pay the taxes, and therefore the school tax rate would perhaps be lower. But if the municipality didn't have the pilot, our taxes would be higher, and by the exact same amount, because we generally get as much amount into the town from pilots as we do from regular taxes. So what people have to understand is a skyscraper on Main Street that landed there tomorrow does not mean the school board can buy one more textbook. It doesn't mean they can buy one more bus, because they do their budget and they set the amount they need from revenue, from taxes, and they set the amount that they're going to spend. There is a cap on how much they can spend from year to year, regardless of what happens to the tax base. So a new skyscraper on Main Street does not mean the school can spend more money. If they spent $100 million this year, they can spend $102 million next year, whether there's a new building or whether 5 buildings are closed. So the concept of buildings meaning more money to schools, children, or to the education system is completely erroneous. The development does nothing to impact the school budget's ability to educate students. All these projects simply impact the tax base, which impacts the tax rate, and which has nothing to do with the students of this school district. So the answer to your question, pilots have absolutely no impact on the education of students in our town. Pilots only impact the tax rate. One would go up without them, one would go down, one goes up with them, the other goes down. As you said, your own words, it's all the same taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Muller.
Ed Mullen, Jefferson Street, Menlo Park Terrace. Excuse me. Menlo Park Terrace, the only section in town not represented on the township flag. Your nice magazine, page 7 this month, says we have 10 towns with 9 stripes on the flag. That's for discussion on another day. I appreciate Mr. Maris's comments. I was taken aback, and if I can address the mayor through the chair.
Yes.
I should have listened to you. When I met with you about 3 weeks ago, and I said the Board of Fire Commissioners asked me to come down and represent them, to thank the council, to thank you for including us in that pilot, you warned me. You said the vitriol will start. Mr. Maris will come after me. Well, that meeting was the 7th, 8:08 a.m. on the 8th. We got an open request from Mr. Maris asking, as he stated earlier, for budgets and certified financial records from District 9 for the past 5 years. One of our deputy chiefs handles the website, and had Mr. Maris just clicked the tab 2 above instead of asking for information, the information he wanted was readily available. So I had to assume he was sending me a message. I could be wrong, because the meetings I've listened to, Mr. Maris sometimes says he lives in Fords, which is District 7. There were meetings where he said he lived in Colonia, which could have been Avenel District 5, Isla District 11, or Colonia District 12. But I know he doesn't live in District 9. Yet, we got the request, and it was tended to, with one exception. The archives for the budgets for 2015 and 16 are not easily accessible. And I felt so bad that the request was made that I offered the business administrator my own time to go retrieve the 2 budgets that were missing from 2015 and 2016. Got them, went to Staples, made color copies for Mr. Maris, and I'd like to hand them to him now, so we now have fulfilled our open request with Mr. Maris.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Very welcome. And all I can say is, happy hunting. as every fire district board of fire commissioners knows, there's a process we go through to get our budgets approved and adopted. Have to have public hearings, have to submit it to the Department of Community Affairs, Local Government Services, Bureau of Authority Regulation. They have to be reviewed. Public hearings take place. Then they have to be adopted. They have to be approved again. Then it goes before the voters. District 9 has the reputation of being financially sound. We have the lowest tax rate of the 9 districts in Woodbridge Township. Budget's never been defeated. And all I know is Mr. Maris does not live in District 9. So, Mr. Maris, I hope you find what you're looking for. Anytime you want to ask me a question about it, I will try to get you an answer. I'm not the business administrator there.
No, I very much appreciate open, transparent government, and I think the public has a right to ask anybody that's
Mr.
running
Maris,
anything in town.
you're exactly right.
Thank
You have the right. The question is, what is your reason? And that I have to surmise.
I just was asking about whether you had it in your budget or not for the fire department. Thank you.
If you ask me any question you want, I'll stay after the meeting. We can discuss it.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Love to. Thank you.
Mr. Mullin.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
Sorry about the challenge, Joe. I couldn't resist.
Hi, John McGinnis, Main Street, Woodridge proper, 33-year resident here. I'm here to thank you guys tonight, quite frankly. And you hear a lot of negative things. Obviously, the majority of Woodridge residents like what you're doing. Mr. Mayor and the council won over 80% of the votes on all their elections. That's overwhelming, and that's pretty amazing. As a Woodridge proper resident, I want to thank you for the new Cross Street School. I mean, that's going to help my property value, so thank you very much for my retirement. But it's something I want to say. A lot of people, like I said, an overwhelming majority of people realize how good this town is. I work for a financial industry, or a financial service company down in Point Pleasant, 2 counties away. They're talking about what's going on up here. Because a lot of my clients take the train to Manhattan every day. So they see the Woodbridge station, they see the Avenel station, and they ask me, what's going on at Avenel? You got a performing arts center there. I said, yeah, we do. Okay, there used to be an ugly factory building there. They notice that eyesore, and they're amazed that we have something like that now. And they see the restaurant there too. So they go, wow, you guys got something going there. I've had other clients say to me, coming home, they see there's bands playing at a park. What's that about? I said, well, we got a lot of music here. And Jersey Shore obviously has a lot of music. And when I have people saying, what's going on? We have country night, we have oldies, we have tribute bands. So the bottom line is, thank you. Most of the town, 80% of this town thanks you. But now Ocean County is realizing what you guys do. So I just thought you should know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
John Untitled Woodbridge. Well, I did 55 years, and there's a lot of changes. And I'm sorry, I only said 20 years ago, what's the future of Woodbridge? I said, look at Elizabeth, look at Newark, that's the future of Woodbridge. But let me go backwards again. Mayor was talking about Main Street traffic. That's everything that's going to happen. How long ago they're supposed to put a traffic light over there? And the second part of the question, who's going to pay for it?
I don't know what
I believe
traffic light where.
Where?
By Wegmans and Lois.
We just said that we're doing that project now. The state awarded us $1.3 million, which we then hired an engineer for and it's a $12 million project that will be paid for by the state.
Not in your Woodbridge?
No.
Not a penny?
No.
Thank you. Let me go back to Mr. Lorenz. And you stated he's a part-time employee by Edison. He's doing it for years, right? And you said he's doing it because their tax assessor is a training. How long does it take to train tax assessor? He's doing it for years.
I didn't say tax assessor. I didn't say they're in training.
Well, you did say he's in training.
He is a certified tax collector. Many towns do not have somebody on staff either. You got a bunch of certified positions: CFO, building inspectors, as tax assessor, municipal clerk, tax collector, qualified purchasing agent. There's a bunch of them. A lot of towns don't have somebody on staff, but they need to have somebody, so they bring somebody in part-time from another town. In this case, he's been there. He does the taxes and he does the sewer work. And when somebody there gets the license that they want to make the tax collector, they won't need him anymore. They still could use him, but right now they need him because he has the license. A lot of our people work in other towns. As Councilman Spiller said last week, we're proud of that. I think that's great that other towns want to use our people, and we encourage it and we let them do it. It's great that Woodbridge is so recognized that our people are in demand in other towns. So that's the story. He's part-time, he makes $43,000 a year, he's full-time here, and he works as hard as anybody. Every time I come in this office on a Saturday to catch up on things, he's always here. He works as hard as anybody in this township.
Mayor, Ed is a larger town than we are, and they only need a part-time tax assessor. Why is that?
It's a collector, not an assessor.
It's a collector, okay.
And again, they have people that are full-time that work in the office. They just don't have anybody with the license. So basically, they're using him for his license. And once he has put his license on the line, he's got to make sure the work is done. So he works there on a part-time basis.
So it takes years. Okay. You mentioned something about the juggle dynamics. There's only 20 kids in school now. There's approximately 300 partners at a time. And give them a time. You know, they're newlyweds. It takes time to have kids.
How do you know they're newlyweds?
Well, I don't know. I believe so. But again,
how do you know? You've never seen them. You've never seen them. You're making it up.
Are you aware of Cloverleaf Apartments in Woodridge?
Or what?
Cloverleaf Apartments in Woodridge.
Cloverleaf Apartments?
Right.
Yes.
You know, I remember when they built it, and I was told that was St. Albert and Winfield. It was a business administrator. There will be no children. Do you know how many kids coming from that apartments?
I doubt you were told by anybody in a complex as large as Cloverleaf that there would be no children. They're garden apartments. They attract young families, and they attract young families with children. You were not told. You were not told there would be no children. You're making that up. Second, the Avenel apartments are luxury apartments that average $2,000 to $2,500 a unit to rent them per month. And they are not producing children. 329 apartments so far have produced 27 kids. That is a fact. That's not even two per grade.
Give them a couple of years.
Give them a couple of years, and if they have kids in a one-bedroom apartment, they will have their second kid like my parents did. I was 2, my sister was just born, and my parents moved from Irvington. Thank goodness they chose Woodbridge Township in Menlo Park Terrace, and my mom's lived there ever since. So that's exactly what's going to happen here. No one's going to have 2 kids in a one-bedroom apartment, or even 2 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. They're going to have their kid, and when the kid gets a brother or sister, they will move. And you know what? Based on what's happening, they'll move to Avenel, to a single-family house in Avenel, because there's going to be a brand-new school 4 and 5. And all these projects downtown, they're going to stay where they are because of a brand-new Ross Street school. So we have things in our 2 downtowns that no other town has, which is brand-new grammar schools. So yeah, you wait, you'll see.
Mayor?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, to elaborate on what you said, everyone, we welcome children. I don't understand what the issue is, but just to, thank you, your time is up. But just to reiterate, we took Oak Tree Road School, we have Woodbridge Middle School, building a brand new Ross Street School, and hopefully in 4 years we'll have a brand new school 4 and 5s. No other townships, no other districts, no other cities are doing that. 4 schools. So thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Good evening, Daniel Harris, Colonia. You teed me up nicely. I was going to jump up and talk about these 2 issues. We had talked about pilots earlier, and then you just teed up some of the school projects. I was school board president in 2017 when we got the bond referendum done. We're building School 11, as you know, the addition to Woodbridge Middle School, and we acquired by lease the St. Cecilia's School. When I was president, Mayor McCormick and I, we signed an agreement that the pilot money, as promised, would be paying off the debt service for the bonds that the district put out to pay for those projects. So when we talk about pilots and the school getting its share, if you will, they're paying off our debt service. So we're indebted to the township for making that financial commitment to us. Also, adding on to that is whenever there's a successful property tax appeal, as anybody knows, the municipality picks up the entire bill. They don't send the school district a 60% bill to pay for this successful refund. So just want to point those 2 things out from the school district side. Finally, the reason I came this evening was to thank Councilwoman Drum. In January, I was driving on Main Street, probably not paying attention as much as I should have, and there was a gentleman stopped on the side of the road. Didn't quite know what he was doing. It was just before the crosswalk here. I went around him, and a pedestrian decided to run from the JG Bidding side across the crosswalk. I nearly hit him. Thank goodness I didn't. He stumbled a bit. I got out and greeted him very nicely. He was being greeted by that gentleman in that car that was idling on the side of the road. He was picking up a passenger. I think it was a couple weeks ago, a month ago. Township, administration, engineering, I'm sure the police department had a role. You banned stopping and parking and idling underneath Main Street and Green Street train trestles there. So I want to thank the council and the administration for acting very quickly on that. I'm sure I was not the first motorist to come closely to hitting a pedestrian who decided to run through the crosswalk at rush hour during the dark evening hours of a January afternoon. So thank you to the council and administration for reacting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments this evening?
Yes, sir.
Paul Danilchik, Island. Just want to give before I begin, a little background what I had. In college, my major was communications media. I produced cable TV shows, I did radio, and currently I'm a fill-in host for WCBC. With that background, I put a proposal to Lee Beckerman for TV 35 to have a conversational interview program with some of the topics would be autism, Vietnam War vets, Toastmasters, public speaking, firematics, fire safety, community radio. And these are things that I myself have been involved in, or know people that have been involved in. The proposal went to Lee Beckerman and then to Mr. Haggerty, and then I was told that it really didn't fit the criteria of TV 35. I'm a resident, some of the guests would be residents. It would be produced you wouldn't have to go out. It would be produced at the studios. And I think with the topics that I brought up, these could affect somebody's life, change somebody's life, maybe even save somebody's life. So I'm here today to ask that the council, Mr. Haggerty, would reconsider a program like this with such topics as this. And I'd appreciate that, because a few people that I've mentioned it to in the township thought it was a great idea. They liked the topics. They liked the theme of the show. And I want to be clear, I know from the other part, this is a non-political show. I'll repeat that. Non-political. I have no aspirations to run for office. I don't want to be in divorce court. So, with that, I'm asking you to reconsider. I'm easily found. I work at JJ Elliott Realty, and I'd like the opportunity to share what I have, knowledge I have, and the people I know, to present this program to TV 35. Thank you.
Any other comments this evening?
Go ahead. That's fine, go ahead.
Hold on again. I'm sorry. Hold on, hold on.
Mr. Lundy, you already spoke during the public comment.
Right. I didn't know. It's just a follow-up.
No,
Based on new information.
Your 5 minutes are up. Thank you.
5 minutes are up?
Yep. 5 minutes are up. We're at the first time you're up.
Was I timed, by the way?
Yes, you
How
were.
you do it?
Yes, you were, sir.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Marcus. Can I bring this down a little bit?
Yes, thanks.
Thanks. All right, so I'm from Colonia, and I watched Channel 35 last month, and I was disgusted by the people that came here to insult the council and the mayor and everyone else that's here. So the reason I'm here is to let you know that there's over 95,000 constituents, and you know why the room isn't full? It's because they do it right. So you don't fix with not, when it's broken, that cliche thing. So I watched you insult the mayor and insult the council, and there's positive things going on. Lake Avenue's got a traffic light going up. They help the veterans. They do tooling around town. New businesses. I know one of you is planning to run and saying you're going to lower taxes. Here, he's putting businesses up, and you're worried about taxes not going down, but you're going to cut them down, right? Second of all, I'm really scared on the fact how you people hate children. I mean, after tonight, wow. I'm glad the council and the mayor and everyone over there aren't worried about what you're saying, no children, no children. I'm a mother, okay? Children are very important in this town. My son lives in this town, and now he's working in this town, so he's helping with the economy as well. So, I also want to say, when he was in 3rd grade, he came here. I didn't know him. I didn't know the mayor. My son gets a phone call from the mayor saying, I need to speak to my son, you know your son. Tells him what the square footage is because he asked for it. My son wanted to know the square footage of town hall. He called him. What mayor does that? I've lived in 4 other towns, never seen a mayor call from it. That's very impressive. Next, I saw some slander on Facebook, and you know, you people with jailhouse tattoos and your copy of rude comments, checking financials, are you ready for other people to do this to you? Also, if you have a problem with the speaker and the microphone, speak louder. We don't want to spend any more money on the township. And also, I want to talk about my councilwoman, Debbie. Okay? When I've been here 22 years, and there was another councilman. I called him in 1999, and I'm still waiting for phone calls. His wife was very nice. Debbie comes in, she called me immediately. So, you know, it's just a shame that you guys just got to come here and insult and bash and slander. So I just want to say shame on you. Thank you, council. Thank you, everyone over there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
Mr. President, can I direct one question towards the directors, please?
Yes, sir.
Director Haggerty, have we received any complaints about sound at council meetings?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carroll.
Can I entertain a motion to close this portion of the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We're going to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Before we move to the agenda portion, I'd like to have our bi-weekly council report from the mayor.
Thank you, Council President. It's a pleasure to do this. Just a short report on activities for the past 2 weeks. Yesterday morning, Councilwoman Drum was with us as we accepted an enormous amount of pet food and supplies from Amazon for our animal shelter in Seawarren. Saturday was a terrific Chamber of Commerce fair on Main Street and was packed all day. Sunday night, Councilman Brian Small attended the Police versus Fire First Aid hockey game, where over $5,000 was raised for charity. And I'm not quite sure who Brian rooted for, since he's been involved with police, fire, and first aid his entire life.
The fire department won.
And the fire department won. I was going to get to that, Eddie, relax. And the game was dedicated to Ryan Terabetsky, who got jerseys and gifts from both sides. Councilman Howie Barrow has been involved in the game from its inception 8 years ago, although he no longer plays, but he did coach the winning fire first aid team for the 4th time. Congratulations, Harry. Sorry, Director Hubner. Speaking of Ryan Terabetsky, Brian also attended the beefsteak dinner along with Councilwoman Nancy Drum and Councilman Spiller that was run by the Avenel Fire Company, where money was raised directly for Ryan. Nancy and Councilwoman Meehan, of course, did their tricky trade magic to make more money. Brian Small has been the president of the PBA Street Hockey League for many years, and last week was the first game of the season. Kyle Anderson and Greg Ficara attended the special education prom and danced with the students last week. Those two guys actually can dance. The Independent Club of Colonia also held a painting fundraiser at the Colonia Firehouse, which Kyle attended. The Golden Saints were active these last 2 weeks with a terrific carnival attended by Brian and Corey. And Corey was also present when Eagle Scout candidate Anthony Police ran his project to beautify the grounds and paint the press box and bleachers at Saints Field. The JFK High School Advanced Placement Environmental Science class brought 80 students to Merrill Park with Councilman Patel to repaint all the equipment in advance of our 20-year anniversary of that project, which we will celebrate on the morning of our 350th anniversary picnic at Merrill Park. Speaking of the 350th, we worked with Councilwoman DeJesus to arrange for the Girl Scouts to sell soda at that event as a fundraiser, and with Councilman Kyle Anderson to arrange for the Boy Scouts to sell water. We honored Fire Chief Terrence Kennedy with a proclamation recognizing his service to Island Fire Company District 9 last year, and we had an open house at Kid Sports at the club at Woodbridge, and a very successful Colonia Old Neighborhood discussion at the Barron Arts Center, thanks to historian and former Councilwoman Brenda Velasco. Councilman Ficara has been advancing his idea to have adult exercise equipment at our playgrounds for parents to use, and will be rolling out the first location very soon. Many council persons attended the promotion ceremony of 1 police captain and 3 police sergeants who moved up in rank in the best police department in the state of New Jersey. Greg and Liz Beth cheered the JFK High School softball team as they finished second in the Middlesex County tournament. Many of us watched the superbly run elementary school track meet. Congratulations to Avenel 4 and 5 as the large school champion, and to Masonic School 26 as the small school champion. Councilwoman Drum spoke about leadership to the students at Berkeley College and joined Councilman Barrow at the High School Arts Festival. Just this morning, Councilwoman DeJesus also orchestrated the Youth in Government Day, where high school juniors from all over our public and private schools played the roles of each of us and each of you for the day. There was a River Watch cleanup, a dinner to support our food banks at St. Anthony's, a Cinco de Mayo celebration at Sycamore Senior Center, and thousands of people came to Woodbridge High School last Saturday for the annual Paranormal Expo. And thanks to all of the Mayor's Advisory Committee members who helped make that event run incredibly smoothly. And finally, and perhaps the event I personally was most proud to attend, was the recognition of our very own Dr. Bonnie Nolan, who runs our Division of Addiction Services in the Health Department, as a woman of distinction by the Jewish Renaissance Foundation at their annual dinner. Bonnie has put Woodbridge on the map as the leading town in the state in dealing with those in addiction and preventing people from becoming addicted, and she truly deserves that honor. I'm sorry this was not a short report, but the council has been very active these last 2 weeks. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of my council mates, really appreciate your update every meeting. Not so much for the residents to hear what we're doing, but all the activities that all of us, the council, the agenda, administration, and all the other great services and programs the township has to offer. So once again, thank you. So we'll move to the agenda portion. Under my agenda, item number 4, the mayor touched on it. I'd like to thank the Golden Saints for assisting Anthony Polisi, a local Boy Scout who conducted his tasks on Saturday to complete his Eagle Scout badge. It's quite impressive. Anthony oversaw a group and assisted with landscaping and other repair issues at the Saints complex, so great job. Item number 7, please check out Mayor Mack's Cafe, located inside the Cypress Recreation Center on West Avenue. Stop by for lunch. The cafe will be open on Mondays and Wednesdays, June 10th and 12th, 17th and 19th. Please stop by and bring a friend for an enjoyable lunch. And just to refresh what a great program this is, these are our wonderful kids that we have learning at the RISE program, and they are working the cafe as they get acclimated to everyday work environment. So again, that's Cypress Rec Center, Mayor Mack's Cafe. Item number 9, thank you to all that assisted, volunteered, and attended the beefsteak dinner at the Avenel Firehouse on Saturday. The event was an extremely huge success with a net profit of over $8,000. The funds will go into the Avenel Fire Company's Community Service Fund and will help with Ryan and his family as he continues to bravely battle leukemia. Once again, thank you to everyone, and I want to thank everybody in this room. You assisted in some form. It really was just a great event. Item number 11, I'm very happy to announce that the township and the administration has closed on the Woodbridge Developmental Center property. It is ours. Submissions in response to the FRQ and the RFP for the property are due on May 29th. There's a lot of exciting things that are being discussed for that property. So as the mayor alluded to with other projects, hopefully within the next year or two, we'll be bringing in more tax ratables, employment. So very excited about that. Item number 14, it's never too early to start announcing. Our concerts will be starting. I want to first touch on Golden Oldies Monday, which starts on June 24th with the Duprees, and Tuesday Tributes on June 28th. Sail On, that is our tribute band, Tuesday Tributes. Sail On for the Beach Boys. So, Mr. Haggerty, I just want to thank you and your team as always. You put out great literature, so thank you. You can go to our township website, www.twp.woodbridge.nj.us, and you can find out all the information. The rest of my agenda is in order. I'd just like to wish everybody a happy and safe Memorial Day. With that said, if you are in, everybody pretty much has memorial services at some point, but memorial services will be, Councilman Small, you got to touch on Port Reading, or you want me to handle it? You can do it. Port Reading Fire and First Aid Squad at 9 on Monday, Memorial Day. Avenel Fire Company at 9:30, and the Avenel VFW located on West Park Avenue at 10 p.m. And Director Hubner, I'm sorry, I noticed it driving here this night. Can we have traffic go out and paint the curb in front of Avenel Supermarket? I think it's 1003. That's the no parking that we did when we redid the traffic intersection. We got the ordinance passed, we got the signage up, but there's still some cars, so maybe with a fresh coat of paint, they'll take notice to it. That's all I have this evening. Thank you. So, Council Vice President DeJesus.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 3, Youth and Government. I'm happy to announce that today we held, I believe, our 11th year doing Youth and Government, and we had 12 young men and women, juniors in our 3 local high schools and one of our parochial schools, but all the kids live in Woodbridge Township. They were here with great ideas, and I'm proud to say that our children want to volunteer in our township. They had great ideas and they want to do good in our township. So I want to commend the students and their 3 history teachers that were here. We were here from 9 a.m. to about 1:30 because they just had question after question, and that's a program that I'm very proud of. So if you know a junior or a senior next year that is taking history in one of our high schools, ask them to ask their history teachers about youth and government. Item number 10, the Woodbridge Public Library. I would just like to announce that they will be closed on Saturday, June 1st. The Fords, the Henry Inman in Colonia, and the Islam Branch Libraries will all be closed Saturday, June 1st, because the staff are participating in our 350th celebration festival at Merrill Park, so they will be there to man some activities. And their reading program for the summer will be for all ages and is a universal stories, and that will open Monday, June 17th. Item number, now because it's June 1st, we're celebrating our 350th Township anniversary. Our festival will be at Merrill Park. It will start at 11 a.m. with the old-time baseball game, and you will see everybody that's participating wearing old-time uniforms, and I believe that they don't have gloves, so they got to catch, I hope it's a softball, with their hands. At 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8, we will have concerts at Merrill Park. They will be in, yeah?
I assure you it's not a softball.
We'll have an extra machine on site.
And, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. They have inflatables for the kids. They have various food vendors and trucks, and they will have a rededication at the community playground at 12:30 p.m. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to the John F. Kennedy softball team. The girls made it to the finals. They lost. But again, if you know me, you know that I speak on girls sports, and I went and watched the game on Saturday, and they lost. But it was a valiant effort, and they should be really proud and walk with their head held high because they made it to the finals. So again, you know, throughout the school year, there's always girls' sports, and I would like everyone to support them. Again, thank you, and that's all that I have. Thank you, Council President.
First time in 37 years.
Oh, the first time in 37 years. So I wish we had a, you know, the parents were there like always. Wish we had a bigger crowd, but we were. Kyle was there, I was there, Greg was there, and the mayor was there, and Dan Harris was there, and the girls did a fabulous job at trying, but they couldn't beat Bishop R.
Good season. Thank you, Council Vice President De Jesus. Councilwoman Meehan.
Thank you. I'm going to go down to item number 13, Municipal Alliance and Task Force. We're happy to announce that the Prosecutor's Office was awarded funds for Operation Helping Hand, which is a statewide program to use law enforcement leads to help communities with the opioid crisis. Recognizing that Good Samaritan laws often leave police with no options to help persons known struggling with opioids, this program offers law enforcement the option of referring addicted people to a recovery coach. Through Operation Blue Care, any police officer in the county can refer a person to our recovery coaches, and this grant will cover the cost. Blue Care business cards and posters have been generated throughout the township to publicize this program, and calls have already started to come in. When an addict calls this hotline, they will immediately be able to talk to a peer recovery coach. Also, in an effort to help this epidemic, a $17,000 donation was made to Woodbridge Township Addictive Services by Tom Hudebish in memory of his son Nicholas, who died earlier last spring from an overdose. The money donated will be directed to Woodbridge Township school districts for a program called BotVid Life Skills, which educates 8th grade students about the dangers of prescription opioids. There was a pilot program this year that was done in Fords. It went very, very well. So now it will be put into all the other middle schools. And just like the mayor said, I want to recognize Bonnie Nolan, who worked so hard to put these programs in place. The township is truly blessed to have her. She helps so many people, and it's really her life passion. So thank you, Bonnie, even though she's not here. Go down to Veteran Affairs. Tomorrow night we will have Support the Troop Rally. It's supposed to be a beautiful evening. It'll be at 6 p.m. behind Woodbridge High School. Please come out and help us support the troops, local men and women from Woodbridge Township that are currently serving our country. Also, this Sunday, May 26th at noon, the VFW of Colonia will be conducting their Memorial Day services. After the Memorial Day service, we will be walking across the street to the park to place flowers and observe a moment of silence in remembrance of Corporal Kevin Reinhardt, who lost his life on January 19, 2012, while supporting combat operations in Afghanistan. Kevin was 25 when he died. He was a lifelong resident of Colonia. Immediately following the service, the VFW will be hosting a barbecue, and all are welcome to attend. And lastly, I would like to thank all our veterans who have served our country for their service, and just remind everybody this Memorial Day, when you're enjoying your barbecues and you're with your family and friends, to take a moment to thank a veteran or attend one of the many services we have here in Woodbridge Township. And that is it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Meehan. Councilwoman Drum.
Thank you, Council President. Just to piggyback on Councilwoman Meehan's talk about the Municipal Alliance and the Heroin Task Force, we had before our meeting tonight, Hank Hart, the Exalted Ruler from the Woodbridge Alps, was here donating a check. They had a fundraiser and decided that they wanted to donate $500 of it back to our township's Municipal Alliance for the Heroin Task Force. So thank you for that, and thank you to the Elks who do an enormous amount of outreach into our community. We appreciate that. The Woodbridge Animal Shelter yesterday had a group of employees from Amazon visited them to donate 6 pallets of supplies. The employees delivered all of the products to their designated areas of the shelter, and the shelter supervisor, Heather Campione, arranged to have some of the employees play with the dogs that live at the shelter. The shelter is located at 195 Woodbridge Avenue in Seabourn. It is also a pet adoption center. Their number is 732-855-0600. Just another example of how the businesses collaborate and give to our community. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Amazon. Downtown Merchants Association and the Chamber of Commerce. There was an annual street fair. The mayor had mentioned it earlier. It was very successful. The sun was shining, so we had a lot of attendees. And I wanted to thank our DPW, our police department, and our Woodbridge Fire Departments for once again supporting this and keeping the area safe and clean. And also thank you to Director Henry and his staff for getting the brand new trio of planters put out on Main Street just in time for the street fair. They look beautiful. Really appreciate that. Thank you. And I just wanted to announce that Principal Tammy Giordano is arranging for a PTO-sponsored tour of Ross Street School 11 before it's taken down. It's going to be on June 5th from 6 to 8. They're going to have snacks and tours, and they're suggesting a $10 donation to the PTO. Anyone under 18 must be accompanied by an adult. If you plan on attending, can you please email Maria, F as in Frank, R77@yahoo.com. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. Councilwoman Drum, my daughter's so excited about that tour. She's already calling some of her old classmates, and they want to try to get back into their final class at Ross Street and take pictures in their old seats and things like that. So,
how old is she?
She's 18.
All right. It all started actually because I was getting a lot of Facebook posts from the alumni from Woodbridge High School. My classmates, a lot of them attended Ross Street School and really wanted to have tours and reminisce. So Principal Giordano was very nice in getting the PTO and getting that to happen. So that's good. I'm glad to hear it.
No, it's a good thing and a great fundraiser. My agenda is in order, Council President. I do have a few things to mention. On item number 2, Seawarren Shell Refinery does have a position, 2 positions open for a rail handler. They're not actively advertising on our site, but they're working with our public relations to do that. But the job description is basically to facilitate safe movement, receipt, and shipment of ethanol via rail car by strictly following policies and procedures and ensuring property system lineup. The starting hourly rate is $20.74. It just requires a high school diploma, obviously to promote the drug-free environment at their company, and you must be able to read, speak, and write fluent English. And although they can't say it, they are looking for women as well. They will not turn any women away for a position like this. This is a physical job where you will be going underneath rails, or you'll be in some tight areas, but they want to get the word out that women should apply to these types of positions, especially if you're one of those outdoorsy persons and don't mind getting your hands dirty. The Woodbridge Hall of Fame is still accepting nominations for their banquet coming up in September, and the mayor had mentioned the Independent Clubs event. May 18th, they had a great paint, sip, and relax event at the Colonia Firehouse, and it was well attended, and another great fundraiser and activity for the Independent Club. And on a personal note, I just want to mention and kind of echo the mayor's sentiments. You know, he mentioned earlier how his family moved here when he was a little boy from Irvington. When my wife and I were starting out, we lived in an apartment in Edison. We lived in Millbrook Village. And we stayed there for 3 years when we wanted to expand our family. We knew, being that I grew up in Island and she was from Jersey City, we wanted to stay in this area. And we really wanted to come back closer to our family. So we shopped around in Woodbridge Township for a home. After we found that home, we expanded our family. We now have 5 children. And this is the way that works. And many of the residents that were our neighbors in Millbrook Village, they were seniors. Some of them were lower socioeconomic, and some of them were also families like ours. So we stay in touch with many of them, and many of them have taken the same path. So to be afraid of apartments is not because of children. One, we love children here. As we see, everyone on this board, we're all parents. We've all raised our children here in town. It just seems that people from that attend this meeting basically want to make the children into the big bad wolf. We don't feel that way. But I think that is the route that most people take that move into developments. The one that we see here in Avenel, very young, a lot of young professionals that live there, and they're 2 steps away from the train station, and they're not creating, I think, what did we say, Mayor, like less than 20 kids that have...
27 out of 329 units.
Yeah. This is the way it's supposed to work, and this is the way America works. Everyone, the American dream is to buy a home. One day, everyone that comes in an apartment and expands their family, they do have that opportunity to buy a home, and that's what we want to provide them here in Woodbridge Township. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Again, well put. Councilman Ficarra.
Thank you, Council President. Councilman Anderson, I'm at the point in my life where I'm looking to downsize to an apartment. I'm just saying. It's been mentioned a number of times about the years spent in Woodbridge. As I said it at our last council meeting, my parents moved here in 1960. That was 59 years ago. I was 5 years old, and I'm very happy with the way the town has developed and where it is today. I said it the last time, I'll say it every time. So 55 is a long time, 59 is a little bit longer. Getting into my agenda, first under the Woodbridge Community Center, I've announced a few times a very exciting summer fitness kickoff. It's on Saturday, June the 8th, and it starts at 8 a.m. So if you're into fitness, you got to get up early. It's in the parking lot at our community center. It showcases a lot of our classes and our events. Zumba is one of those, body combat, body pump, body flow. Those are a lot of the contemporary things going on now. You must be 14 years or older to participate, and there is babysitting if you need babysitting services. Speaking of the community center, warm weather's right around the corner. Our Skyline mini golf and batting cages are up and running. I was at the batting cages the other day preparing for the historic baseball game that Councilman De Jesus brought up. Also, our Highland Grove camp and swim area is accepting applications. The community center summer camp is accepting applications. I suggest you don't wait until the last minute because there's a lot of activities going on. We're wrapping up with senior months. The entire month of May was chock full of activities for seniors, I should know. There is a big senior activity tomorrow, a senior summit, but of course that's not going to help us on TV today. But for those of you that are here, Mayor's Wellness and Fitness Initiatives, Mayor McCormick mentioned teaming up with Wegmans, actually thanks to him, with the county park system and even our very own Woodbridge Center. There'll be designated walk areas where Wegmans will produce a book that looks something like this. It's called a passport. When you go to those walk areas, you'll be able to place the pad on a little raised area with a pencil, chalk it up, and once you complete your book, you can turn it in, and I'll give you those locations once we finalize that. And you go into a drawing for $250 gift certificate to Wegmans. But the good part is you'll be walking in all of those locations. With that said, if anybody in the public watching on TV or here has any favorite walks in town, please feel free to send it to us. All council's information is on our website. Please feel free to do that. Looking ahead to the 4th of July, Director Semaluka, my computer is not working, so I'm leaning on you. Huh?
Gates open at 4.
But it's July 3rd.
July 3rd.
Okay, and the pizza run is July 10th.
God
God bless you. July 10th. Okay. So going back to July 3rd, the big 4th of July events, the park is closed until 4 o'clock. So plan accordingly, and our police, as every year, I compliment them on the great job that they do getting people in and out. It is absolutely incredible. And a big thank you goes out to our vets that are our current enlisted folks that are serving now, and to our veterans, and everyone have a safe Memorial Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carrick. Councilman Small.
Thank you, Council President. Number 13 on my agenda, inspections, hotels, and motels. In an effort to reduce criminal activity at hotels and motels, the Township is looking to achieve its goal through design of concepts known as CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. CPTED focuses on 4 areas: natural surveillance, territorial reinforcement, access control, and maintenance. These goals help make guests feel safer and more secure. These principles will also help property owners to reduce insurance costs. Owners or representatives will be required to attend an annual training seminar, which can then provide proof of their success measures to their insurance carrier. Last month I mentioned the garbage can cleaners. Public Works has purchased 2 trucks that follow behind or go on the routes and clean your garbage cans. You might have seen them out in public. Well, they're still established in the routes, but they're due to be set up in the first week of June, Mr. Henry. And you could find your route on the website, so just look for your route the first week of June. They'll be being announced. Just look when your garbage cans are going to be cleaned. And finally, Rally for Ryan, Saturday, June 8th at School Number 9 in Port Reading. This will be a tricky tray event and also a carnival atmosphere. All proceeds go to Ryan Terabetsky, our 7-year-old Avenel child who's fighting leukemia. So I would ask the public to take some time and come out and visit us that day, and it should be a fun day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Small. Councilman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order, but I have a few announcements. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 22nd, we are really happy to announce the grand opening of a new diner. Little Italy is opening its door tomorrow, which is located at 61 Route 1 South, Menlo Park Terrace, next to the Holy Hands, and the grand opening will be at 1 p.m. Also tomorrow, Wednesday, May 22nd, American Muslim Council is holding their 8th Interfaith Grand Iftar Dinner to promote peace and harmony under their banner, Standing United for Humanity. This event is free and will be held at 6:30 p.m. at the Royal Albert Palace, Fords, New Jersey. Also this Thursday, May 23rd, John F. Kennedy Memorial High School in Iselin will hold their annual Scholarship Awards distribution ceremony, and this ceremony will start at 6:30 p.m. in the high school's auditorium. Magnolia Road is located in Iselin, and which connects Oak Tree Road and Route 27 by Metro Park Railroad Station. It's heavily used by pedestrians, especially during commuting hours, but there are no sidewalks now. Township has applied for the grants to build the sidewalks on Magnolia Road. I would like to thank the administration for taking this initiative. P&A Construction has started working on to install new handicap ramps, new curbs, and new sidewalks on Grand Avenue, Woodruff Street, and Home Parks Avenue in Islin. These streets are located across from the Islin Library on Green Street. Please do not park your vehicles on the streets between the hours of 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. On next Monday, May 27, Islin VFW Post 2636 will hold their annual Memorial Day services at the Islin Memorial Park, which is located at the corner of Oath Avenue and Dow Avenue in Islin, and the services will start at 11 a.m. Also, Saturday, June 8th, the HSS, which stands for Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, which is a not-for-profit socio-cultural organization, is holding their annual Guru Vandana event at the Colonia High School between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Guru Vandana means Teachers Appreciation Day. On this day, students, parents, and family members will come to school and pray for the safety and well-being of their teachers, principals, and other staff members. This event is free, and you are all invited with your family members. Happy and safe Memorial Day to everyone. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Councilman Patel. Councilman Bauer.
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order. I have one announcement. Ford's VFW Post 6090 Memorial Day services will be held on Monday, May 27th at 11 a.m. at the Memorial Monument, the corner of King George Road and Coriel Street. I'd like to recognize and honor all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice to serve and protect our nation and those who are currently serving our country here and abroad. That's all I have tonight. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Bauer. Mr. Mitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under number 1, letters A, B, and C, I continue to work with the police department and the state alcohol and beverage control so we can get these moving off the agenda. Item number 2, you do have a hearing scheduled for this evening, but I notified you earlier that it's postponed. We have rescheduled it to June the 25th. Item number 3, liquor license renewals. We're in the process right now of renewing our 94 liquor licenses. May and June are the months we address the lion's share of them, so they're in progress. And with regards to letter A, myself and Councilman Ficarra last week, along with the mayor and Carolyn Ehrlich, met with 76 of 81 retail licensees on how to conduct their businesses here in Woodridge with regards to the selling of alcoholic beverage products. I thought the meeting went over very well, and we're fortunate again to have the Deputy Attorney General, Lisa Parada, here, and it's the first time since we've been doing this program in 12 years we actually had the ABC Director here as well. So it was nice to have him with us, Mr. Graziano. The only other item just to touch on real quick is June 4th is the primary election. Just a notice to voters that it's just best to, when you get your sample ballot, that you bring it with you to your polling place so there's no question as to whether or not where you have to go vote. So I urge you to please bring that on June 4th. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mitch. Senator Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. President. My report is basically housekeeping. There will be 3 resolutions that will be presented on June 11 for the tax court judgments, the sewer overpayments, and the tax overpayments.
Thank you, Senator. Director Hogan.
Thank you, Council President. We have a proposal for some speed restrictions on Main Street. We want to change the number of reserved handicap parking spaces to general handicap parking spaces throughout town, and deleting a number of handicap spaces that are no longer in use. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Sewell.
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Director. Director Dorr.
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Director. Director Henry.
Thank you, Council President. 2 items. I have a change order for the 2018 milling and resurfacing program and a release of sidewalk permit for 192 Decker Place. Thank you.
Legal?
Nothing this evening, Council President.
Motion here.
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Have a good night.